afternoon, everyone. So great to see you here, and it's so great to be standing here. And even though we cannot at this moment have a full church, we know that all from our spiritual community energy are here, and we are streaming this service today. So let's remember that we're one big family coming together to hold the highest this time of change in our country. We stand on the truth that we know that there's only one presence and one power always active in the universe, in our lives, God the good omnipotent. From that awareness, we stand and affirm our oneness as a country. We believe that peace is possible, tolerance is possible. And today, during this service, we are coming together to hold that because we know there's power in our prayers, in our consciousness, in our presence. So we will definitely start today's service by having Tim sing to us the One Power song, which is a great reminder of that principle of only one power, one presence. And actually, I'm going to have you repeat it with me at this moment, the statement of truth. So together, there is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent, and I am one with that presence and that power. And so it is.
One power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, yet we speak of it with every word we say. Mysterious until you know the truth. It's as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings, or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem, or heaven's doors. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. And it's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. And it's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of the baby. The serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it is the love that is most deep. It's one power. It's one power, one power, one power. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love that lives in you and me.
Let us pray. How can there be so much grace and love beyond the words, beyond the thoughts? There's one love, one power, one mind. And we relax in that awareness. We stand on that truth, knowing that as we do, we help co-create the world of good that God intended for its creation. Join me in this awareness. Relax there. I know that underneath it all, there's a benevolent power looking to express itself in every way, in every person, in every circumstance. God. And as we join in together today to hold the highest for this country and for the world, for we know that anything that happens here will affect the entire world. So we hold the highest for all of that. We place ourselves in this awareness of gratitude that divine order is working itself, and that all we need to do is put our attention and energy and awareness in that divine order, knowing that we bless the election process as we do. So we join in silent unity in this election prayer, which we pray in the knowledge that all candidates are being called to their highest purpose, to serve our cities, our states, our nation with integrity, compassion, and commitment. We affirm wisdom and foresight for our leaders as they resolve challenges and help create prosperity and well-being for all people. We envision harmony, compassion, and inclusivity in all results. We are grateful for violence and darkness are cast out by love and light. We are grateful for we are one, and only peace can flow from this truth. We are grateful for our transformation as it allows us to see God in everyone. Together we stand for the truth, understanding, and peace, remembering all that unites us. We're guided forward to lift the energy of our nation and allow love to triumph in every way. For that and more, we say thank you, God. And so it is, and so we let it be.
All we are is all we are, and all we are is love. All we are is all we are, and all we are is love. As we begin to move into meditation, let's adjust our bodies so that we can be comfortable. And let our breath be the conduit to a quieter mind. So paying attention to our breath for a few moments. Let us go deeper. Let the face, the hands, and the feet relax.
As the body relaxes and the mind follows the breath, we move into a deeper state of relaxation and also peace. We let that peace be what we pay attention to at this moment. We feel the body and we feel the space around us. And we recognize in that in this moment we are alive and well. And in this moment, we can take refuge. We can be here, and we can be just as we are. And in this small space of being just who we are, all is well. So thoughts of the future and thoughts of the past are surrendered in this moment, and we take refuge that we are just here. Let your hearts open into this moment. And see if we can let our minds rest in our hearts. We use the mantra whenever our mind should take off. Anticipating the future, I take refuge in this moment. I take refuge in this moment. I take refuge in this moment. Let us drop into our hearts and take refuge together in this holy place. I really want to thank you guys. It's twice that we did a service 2 hours ago, and Tim did the same thing. He sang like that, and I started to cry, and I realized how much we have missed this, how much we are infused by inspiring sounds and feelings when we come here, and we're missing it so much of the time. And so much of this time we have been having to face the world more or less alone instead of with our tribe. And it has been quite difficult, even though it has come on us slowly. In my case, at least, it feels like it's gradually gotten to the point where I recognize the big missing. At first, I was kind of going, "Hey, look, I don't have to be there every day." Now I'm going, "Golly, I haven't seen a real person in a long time, except for some rare exceptions." We do these Sunday talks here on Thursday to nobody but the camera. It is not the same. And so to have real people here, I'm so grateful you came. Thank you very much. I think that I'm not completely alone in this, that the threat of the virus, the isolation of being at home all the time, the bizarreness of wearing a mask when you see people that you know and care about, instead of hugging them, it's hardly the same. And so this feeling that we're facing this alone is so prevalent, and I think it's quite disturbing, even though it might come to us quietly. I was listening to the prayer chaplain, not the prayer chaplain, but the prayer team conversations, and so much of what they were saying was they were worried about people who were dying alone or who were facing this alone in some way, and I realized that is probably the most common experience out there now, that people are facing the world that seems incredibly uncertain at this point alone, and we're not used to that. And it reminded me of when I was getting divorced about 20-some years ago. My wife and I had been together for 20 years, and while it was not an acrimonious separation, it was still, we were in different worlds, and we had faced our pains often together. And so someone asked her how she was doing, and she said, "I take refuge in the present." And I thought that was so brilliant. I had all this angst and worry and stuff like that, and here's a woman who was losing something very important to her, and yet she had the presence of mind to recognize how to have peace in her life. She said, "I take refuge in the present." And when you think about it, what most of us are worried about isn't actually here. It isn't here right now. It's potential. It might happen to someone we love, or it might happen to us, or it might happen to the country or to the world, but nothing right at the moment. Probably if you check in right now, you're living and breathing. Your body is fed. It's not in a torturous position. So if you could turn to this moment will give you refuge. And the future may be dangerous, and the past may be disappointing, but in this moment, generally, even under great duress, even in a poignantly difficult time, if you could come to this moment and say, "How am I doing?" And you go, "Well, right at this moment. I mean, if you're just asking about this moment, I'm doing okay." And that's true. I take refuge in this moment. It is a relief to not be in the future and not be worried about things that aren't here or things that are far away. Just take refuge right here. And it may seem like an almost selfish thing to do that, but when you think about it, there is a collective of all of us, and we're all working with many of the same problems of worrying about the future, etc. There need pockets of sanity in this. And so if you could be that pocket of sanity, you radiate something out to the rest of us that is just what we want to hear, want to have at the moment. We want somebody to be normal, to be that this moment we're okay. This moment. And so that's one of the things I'd like to leave you, take refuge in this moment. And the second thing is something Tim's already delivered, which is that this message of there's only one presence, one power. As we come up on the election, we are a country divided on the surface. We have accentuated the differences. We have broken into camps, and we have spent $1 trillion, I bet, on advertising, telling us how the other guy is terrible, right? Crook, liar, cheater. That may be true, but we have just made a big, big story out of it, right? And we are bifurcated in our minds, but in essence, there's really only one country here, and there's one power if you think more deeply. When I think it was how much I had forgotten that. That in fact, this is a thing you have to remember, because your senses will see separation. Your senses will see other and contrast. Your mind must carry the weight of this revelation. There is only one, because your ears, your eyes, even your touch will tell you, no, it's different. But if you bring your mind to it, you can see that there really is only one presence. I mean, there's one universe that we're working with, at least at this moment, right? And there is one big bang, one sun, one earth, one biosphere, one eruption of life on this planet that has multiplied into a variety of things, but it all is the same kind of process. It's one life, one life. And one thing essentially is, if you look deeper, it's what's all of it is just one thing. On the surface, it's quite a very unbelievably specified, unique, wildly different aspects to it. Each one of us, different thumbprints, different minds, different lives. But underneath that, outside of our own story, outside of the story of our separation, there is the deeper story that there really is only one of us here. And it is playing out as dynamically as it can, and when it plays out dynamically, it looks like there's contrast and enemies and losers and winners. It feels like that because we're on the surface. But if your mind can transcend and go into the truth, you will see, and probably not with your eyes, but see with your mind, there's only one. And to some degree, that should be comforting even to the senses. To know that even though I'm looking at a myriad of things, there's only one. We spend a lot of time here talking about awakening. And this is what awakening is awakening beyond the senses into a realization that is deeper, and your senses will continue to drag you in the other direction, and beauty and ugliness are with the senses, and I love them. Ugh. Don't you? I mean, the art of life, the complexity, the thoughts and all those parts, but there's one thing that all that stuff will do if you don't have a base, is it will drive you crazy. And so to be sane, you need this wholeness, this belonging, this love, this simplicity. That we need too. And so we in both fields, when we're really doing well, we play in the field of the senses and the field of knowing. This just one presence. And we recognize that it's a dance. It isn't one, it's both of these things at the same time. And we are dancing as a country as though somebody had injected us with epinephrine and we were nuts. That's good. It will be good. At one point, it will be a story that adds to more stories of all. And one day, this will be over. As a matter of fact, usually it's over in a day or two, but maybe a little longer here, but it will be over by this time someday. It will be over. And we'll be on to something else. But the one will continue right through the next thing as well, right? From the time of creation, right through your life as a child to an adult, it has gone with you. We touch into when we're in awareness and not in the senses. When we're looking at the one that is looking instead of looking outward, we recognize that oneness. And when we look outward, we have the phantasmagoria of what we see. And when we look inward, we have the peace. And so this is the practice. Spending at least enough time to be in the peace that the phantasmagoria doesn't overwhelm us. There is only one presence and one power, and we will know it if we look for it and think about it and feel into it. This country has a lot to live up to, as we declared over 200 years ago that this is a place of freedom and the pursuit of happiness and equality. This is an ambitious statement, many of which we have only partially been able to achieve, and sometimes with great struggle and with sacrifice in ways that, when you really think about it, you go, why has it been so hard and so difficult? I think it was kind of baked in early that we would have disparity, and so the moving away from disparity has been really a difficult task for us. I was at Mount Vernon and Monticello, where George Washington and Thomas Jefferson lived. And we were there, and you're in some of the people's houses at that time were some of the richest people in the country. And enslaved people were what gave them the freedom to do what they did in many ways. I mean, it was like each one of them had like 400 people enslaved to make their life work at any one time. More than that overall, but at any one time. These were the people who on one hand were creating a country that had so enormous promise, that was rebelling against the idea of the tyranny of hierarchy, at the same time creating it themselves. And we live in that world now that is a remnant of what they created back then. It's somewhat different, but it carries such profound echoes that often it's hard to hear the new notes that are coming out. And so one of the things we have to do, to be honest, is to be able to hold two things that don't seem to fit in our minds at the same time. They could be great, inspired people and terribly flawed. They could do high ambitions and suppress people at the same time. That could be what happened. And we are in a country now that is still dealing with those echoes. The arc, as Martin Luther King would say, the arc of justice is long. And that may be true. It probably surprises many people how long it is. And so it can be so discouraging. And frustrating, and angering. Their country, it appears we have to do it step by step by little step, and keep at it. It would be so nice if it could be done in one motion. But it was baked in, and it has to be chipped away part by part. And so our sanity is important as we chip away at the problem. To recognize whenever you can, I am okay in this moment. To recognize that underneath this to be able to live in the level of the conflict and go in your direction toward healing of the country and ourselves. This by someone who looks like me, granted, but this is the process. And so we need, among the things that we are remembering today, I take refuge in this moment. There's only one presence and one power. We also need to remember profound compassion for those who deal in a personal way with the legacy that has been the part of the foundation of this country. Lend our heart and our understanding to them as well, because this is a multi-century problem. Of someone who understands their, with the endurance of someone who can say, in this moment, I am okay, and who acts with such compassion as to bring about a unification of the differences between us. So it's a seminal moment at this time in our country because we're voting again. But this voting again, no matter what the outcome will not be the end of the progression of our country toward its highest ideals set forth so long ago. We will need to continue. So you need to find refuge in the moments when you can. You need to deal with with the world from a dispassionate place, but to bring. It's a lot to ask for, and we will fall on all those points repeatedly. But we become who we have. It takes. And no matter what the outcome of the on Tuesday, what is true about this we must hold to is that we're going to go, perhaps in a zigzag fashion, toward the goal of the ideals set forth many, many years ago. I think I was struck by so George Bush followed Bill Clinton. He couldn't have been elected had Clinton not been there, if you think about it. Barack Obama could not have been elected had there not been a George Bush. There could not have been Donald Trump had there not been a Barack Obama. Who knows how it goes, but it seems to go that way. We zig and zag to get to where we want to go. So take heart. No matter what happens, we're on a journey. I think we will get there. And we will not let one zig or one zag keep us from getting there. This country is determined at some fundamental level to ultimately move forward. And we will. We will. So let's remember 3 things to keep us on the path. Refuge in this moment. 2, there is only one presence, one power. And 3, those who are in the midst of it deserve our compassion. This will help, I think. Let us also remember, I think, that we're not alone, even though we don't live, touch, and hang out like we used to. That there is a community that we belong to that honors everybody, that respects left and right and up and down. And you're a shining example of that. May our sanity be a blessing to the world around us. Thank you.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the nights with the nights and the lights up above, o'er the mountains and the prairies and the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home, sweet home.
Right about now, we would say, give somebody a hug. You know, I want to say, Tim, you can touch us in ways that, well, very few things do. I mean, and you touch us without even touching us, which is kind of impressive. Yeah.
Encore. One more.
All right.
Sing it there.
God bless America, a land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the nights with the lights up above, over the mountains and the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home, home, sweet home. Ooh. Home, sweet home, home, sweet home.
I had this whole benediction worked out, but you don't need it. Now you had that. Let's go out and be happy and remember that you are the light of the world. Never forget that. What? Hey, streaming people, you are the light of the world too. All right. Pleasant.